Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to the Supreme Ruler 2020 more in-depthy tutorial type of deal, thingamabob, whatever. Last time we looked at the main menu and we had begun to load up into a game, so now we are in a game. You will be presented with something like this. When you first enter, you will probably hover somewhere about that distance away from your capital. When you load in, you can use your mouse, of course, to zoom in and out with your mouse wheel, which pisses a lot of people off on videos, which is funny to me. I think it's hilarious. But that's essentially what you have. You just move your map by pushing your mouse to either the top, bottom, or sides of your screen, diagonal as well, and that moves everything around. But we're going to be looking at tabs here today, not the controls and stuff, which we will look at eventually. We're going to look at all of the tabs here on the bottom right side, where my mouse is now. And the first one we're going to look at is the Land tab. So when you click on the Land tab, a couple of things populate down here. Now this is where the tab is used, essentially. So when you first click on it, you'll see in the very, very right-hand side, it says Land Inspection, and then it'll have your country name. For example, I am the American Union currently. I picked this file just because I've conquered most things, so if I do have to unpause it, I know I'm not going to be overwhelmed and defeated. You know, that would kind of suck mid-tutorial. However, this is what it generates on the side here. So it generates civilian, industrial, military, and other. If you click on these, it gives you all your towns and cities and civilian-built things. Now, civilian-built things would be industrial type of buildings and whatnot. So, for example, here in Aachen, there are some petrol power plants, which are considered civilian because it's just a power plant. This would be any type of industrial building that you decided to build. So if you click on this, say if you want to click on Adan, for example, in this box to the left of it, it generates this city's information, essentially. So it gives you its population, what condition it's in. If it's been attacked recently, that will be lower. How much it costs to operate to the city and its military staff currently in the city. And at the very bottom here, it has your garrison count. You can add or remove garrisons by clicking the minus or the plus. If you click the plus, you'll see the green comes in, so these are to be added. If you hover over it, it has organized defense garrisons in it. How much it costs per year for the garrisons currently in it, how many soldiers are in the garrison, how efficient they are, and how many you've requested and how many are active. So the requested are the green. If you take them away, the green goes away. Pretty simple. Now, to the right of the information and garrisons, you'll see a sort of grid of circles. The middle circle is the city itself. You'll see if I click on this one, this is an airfield. If I hover over it, it does show me the cost, build time, how many industrial goods it takes, and military goods it also takes, annual maintenance of it, and how much staff it needs to be able to operate efficiently. If I unhover that and show over here, it shows its condition, it's active with 100%, has not been attacked, its operating cost, how many military staff, and if I want to make it a rally point. So if I center on it, it will send me directly to it. So if I zoom right in, for example, and do that, you'll see that is where we are. And that's the city itself, which is in former Yemen. So you'd be same thing with the sea pier, exact same way it operates. Now to the very left, you'll see a couple of things you can do. This deactivates the facility, so if I click that, no ships can go in here to repair or anything like that. They cannot use it as a landing zone because it is currently deactive. If you click, it activates it. And you'll see on the condition it changes from inactive to active, and it changes the military staff in it as well. I can decommission the facility, so if I click on that, it'll have scrap or destroy. If I scrap it, I will get some of the resources used to build it back. If I just simply destroy it, it is faster, but I don't get anything back. I can build a new facility, so essentially if I click on that, it populates all of the stuff that I can currently build, industrial-wise, civilian-wise, military-wise, and the other, which would just be rail and roads. If I happen to, say, click on air defense, it will generate where I can build an air defense, and I can build it wherever I want. So if I click, it is now building. However, if we go back to Adan, you'll see that it is now building, that I've built it on that spot. And you'll see the little construction sign. That just means that it is currently building. And again, it shows me the cost and the build time and everything like that. However, if you don't want to do it that way, you can simply click on a spot here and then you can click build new facility, pick your facility, and then do it that way. So that's kind of easy. So it basically shows you how many spots are empty on that space, what's currently building, and what is currently there. So industrial, same kind of thing. So industrial would be industrial facilities. So you can see here this is not a city, this is an industrial facility. So essentially if you build an industrial thing on something that is not a current town or city, it will generate an industrial centerpiece, essentially an industrial facility, which you can then build whatever you want around it that you can. So for example, this one has a timber mill around it. Again, it shows the condition, operating cost, and all the options to the side as well. And if you click on, say, for example, this is an industrial goods facility, if you go and hover over it like that, it doesn't just show the facility cost and build time and such, it also shows annual maintenance and how much it can output maximum possibilities. So this can generate 40,000 tons per year. Also, for industrial goods or any type of facility industrial-wise that takes resources to operate, it will show you what it consumes so you can build more of it to compensate for the loss. So industrial goods facilities take electric power, coal, petrol, and metal ore. So if you need, say, metal ore, you can know that this is taking it and you can build more to compensate for the loss. Militaries, pretty much the same. This is a military facility. You can only build military buildings around it. For example, this is a land fabrication that units build out of. Production capacity, currently one land fabrication can only build one unit at a time. If you hover over it, there's really nothing new. It just shows you everything that it shows you in most normal stuff. And other would be roads. So obviously you can't really select a section of road, so there's just 0. I don't even know why it's even there. So anyway, that is the complex details part of the tab. If we click over here to military presence, it shows you what presence of a military I have. So, for example, if I click here, it shows what military units are currently in the town of Saba. It also shows that on the map as well, but it shows it here. Oops. It shows it here as well, and you can kind of scroll up and down to see the units. You can select a unit if you so desire. If I unpause it and select a unit and double click, it will tell me its technical readout, which is a whole different level of stuff, and I will get into that once I get into the military tab is when I will go over that part of it all. I'll just go over everything to do with military when I get into that tab. So essentially this just shows you what is in a town or a industrial facility or military facility, for example. So the units, military units, it'll show you the garrisons currently in it. It shows you the terrain, which can be important. If you have, say, a mountainous terrain, like if I zoom out here and click right here, dense forest, for example, it will say here close combat / low visibility, meaning my units will move slower and they will not attack as far away. Say if it's an artillery unit, it will its visibility is cut, so it will not attack as far as it would on, say, flat ground like this, like plains. So let's select another facility there. So it shows that. It shows the supply percentage, so there's 67% supply at this facility. If I click, say, this one, there's going to be a lot more. There is 87% there, so it all depends. Supply is dictated usually by large cities, so the larger the city, the more supply output it will have because it is a larger city. So essentially, as you can see down here, there's a large city there. It has a lot more supply around it. It's almost fully supplied. It also shows the population of the area that I'm at. Excuse me, so the city that I'm currently in is at 1.3 million population. That will grow. It shows its loyalty, so it is currently loyal to the country of Armenia, which I took over quite a while ago. I never see that change. It says loyalty 100%. I've never seen that go down to 0, for example. I've never seen that move from 100% ever, and every time you click on anything, whatever that former country is who they're going to be loyal to. So essentially, I don't really know why it matters. Yeah, but that just shows its loyalty. So that's essentially that tab. It just more or less shows you information about the current town or city or area that you are either at or going to attack. So if you go over to the next tab, map filters. This is kind of important. Personally, I have my map filters set so I have line of sight and supply overlay, because supply is extremely important when you are going to war, because supply takes a few days to actually kick in, and if supply is not kicked in, your units will fly all over the place and fuck up and explode and die. This is a big gripe with the AI that I have with 2020, because the AI does not, it's not smart enough to detect its supply, so it literally just goes off into the middle of fucking nowhere and gets stuck. So essentially, yeah, it's total bullshit. But if we turn all of these off, you can see it's just your basic land and stuff like that. Line of sight really doesn't matter. It doesn't do too much. If you have Fog of War on, it does help with your line of sight on your units when they move, but otherwise... supply, of course, is the supply, so each country will have a color dictated to it, and the thicker the color, as you see here, the more supply. The lighter the color, the less supply. So, for example, right here, there's like almost no supply. So you wouldn't send your units there. This one here is map ownership overlay, so who owns what. So essentially, I own this shit, so it's all colored in. But for example, if we go over to Japan, it's an orangey reddy kind of color because they currently own it. So yeah, that's what's going on there. I have units loaded onto that. Oh yeah, I was going to attack, wasn't I? Whatever, I'll figure it out later. So that just shows ownership overlay. This is loyalty overlay, so like the loyalty I was talking about a second ago, it shows who certain countries and stuff are loyal to. For example, this is Kazakhstan they're loyal to, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, all the European countries. More or less just shows you an outline of where the countries used to be before you absolutely steamrolled them. So yeah. This is garrison overlay, so it shows you where all your garrisons are. The lighter the color, the least garrisons, so there's one in there. And the darker the color, the more, so this one is full, so it's pretty dark. Yippee. This is terrain information, so it shows you kind of higher elevation. For example, the green here shows you higher elevation. There's higher elevation here, all kinds of mountains with the Himalayas and stuff. It just shows you that kind of elevation so you know where to try and avoid your troops into going, because it is slower unless there's a road going through it. This is close combat or low visibility, so again, a lot of the mountains will be highlighted, and cities will also be highlighted because that is close combat. Take that out. Defensive terrain overlay, so essentially where you can set up a decent defense to be able to counter an enemy's attack. So the thick red is just a better one, so towns are really, really good for setting up a defense because there's lots of city and buildings that the enemy has to go through. Mountains are fairly decent, again, because it's kind of closer combat, it's low visibility. I'm not really sure why the plains are, but apparently they are, more so, I guess, if you can outnumber or outstrength your opponent. It's going to be fairly easy to do on the plains because your artillery is going to fire farther, and you can just trundle along. More or less my thinking. Water location overlay. Water is very important. You do need to get water. Rivers are generally said water distribution ability-ness. Rivers are the biggest part of it, so make sure your country is situated next to a fairly large river, and you should be okay. And map grid overlay, so it just shows the grid. The map is essentially done in hexagonal circle square things, and that one unit can only be on one hexagonal square per thing or whatever. So you can see here they just move through the hexagonal, so that's more or less what that shows. Nothing too important. Down here there are resources, so it will show you where resources are if you're not sure where they might be. So agriculture is fucking everywhere. Water, as I said, mostly along rivers, and the thicker the river, the more it seems to have. Like, for example, let me zoom over here, I have a lot of units there for some reason. The Rhine River has quite thick, orange color, red color, whatever, because it is a larger river. If we go to timber, it shows you all the timber. Oil, not a lot in Europe apparently. It shows you all the oil available in Europe. Coal, metal ore, uranium, electrical power availability. You can build stuff like just coal or petrol plants to do power, but you can also do, say, hydro, for example. This shows you that kind of stuff. There's also like a wind power you can do as well. I'm not sure why this one really exists. It should just say hydroelectric, because this is basically all it shows is where you can put hydroelectric. Population, so it shows you where the thicker population concentrations are, which most people should know. For example, London is here, there's higher concentration. Paris is right there, higher concentration. You know, that kind of shit. So essentially that's what it shows you. And then just turning it all off. So I usually have supply on for sure. It's helpful when fighting wars, especially when you have a lot of units and you don't want them to fly around everywhere and die. Next tab. Land development. So essentially there is a bunch of stuff you can build. So there is civilian stuff, agriculture, air defense, airfield, barracks. Not sure why some of this is civilian, but whatever. Composite ore, which is metal ore, fortifications, all the goods, industrial, military, and consumer, hydroponics, oil stuff, power. So there's the hydro I was talking about, you know, all kinds of power. Radar stations, research centers, sea piers, supply depots, blah, 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 blah. And then there's a whole bunch of shit for industrial as well, and military. That's most of your fabrications and etc. And then other is, like I said, roads. So if I say click on Aerospace Foundation, it allows me to build an aerospace fabrication, or aircraft fabrication. Allows me to build one of those, so I can go and build one of those, and boom, bam, it's built. Essentially, that's all it is. It shows you where you're building it, the supply currently there, who they're loyal to, and allows you to build. That's pretty much all that is. You can do that in an easier way that I will show you in a later video. However, that is the way I'm showing you right now. Next tab is transportation. This one's kind of important, I guess, depending if you're spiraling into debt. Otherwise, not really that important. It more or less just shows you your total roads. So I have 745,000 kilometers worth of road, which is costing me almost $30 billion to maintain. Railway shows me my total rails, 154,000 kilometers, and my maintenance is $602 million. Railways are easier to maintain than roads. Roads are more expensive because roads degrade faster than railroads. Railroads are metal and wood. Roads are asphalt. So it just degrades faster, especially in the north. However, you can build roads from here, so if you click build roads, it brings up that thing again. To build a road, you just, oops, I fucked up there. To build a road, you just click and drag. So you just you don't hold down the click either. You can just click and go wherever. So say I want to build a road from here to there, and then from here to there to connect those, and then from here to there to connect that, and then across. There you go. Roads are what you build over rivers. You get bridges. They take 80 days to build, and they cost a little bit more money. But what do you do? So also, if you build a road from here, you can see here, build roads, distance, how many kilometers, select transportation start point. It takes 72 days currently to build the road, and if I keep going out, it shows me the length of days it'll take to build the road, how much money it's going to cost, how long it is, and that's about it. So depending on where I put it, so if I put it, say, over a bridge, it'll cost me a bit more. If I'm putting it over like that, it's going to cost me a bit more. But essentially, that's what it tells you. So it's kind of interesting, kind of lets you know what you're spending. But yeah, so that's everything from the land tab, guys. If you have any further questions about the land tab, please let me know by leaving a comment. And the next tab video will be out sometime soon. I have a solid schedule now. Basically, I'm going to make videos Monday to Friday and take the weekends off. So essentially Monday I'm going to do South Africa. Tuesday I'm going to do an episode on Supreme Ruler 2010. Maybe we'll continue Greece and see where that goes. Wednesday I'm going to do Western Siberia. Thursday, which is today, obviously, I'm going to do the tutorial. Once that's over, I'm going to start a new series with probably Supreme Ruler Ultimate. And Friday I'm going to do Syria. So that's what I'm doing. Fascist Italy I'm probably going to do an episode of, just to kind of wrap it up. Maybe instead of South Africa on Monday, maybe, I don't know. But that series will be wrapping up. So that's what's going on. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.